All right, guys, we're back with game 2 of North Carolina State versus UNC Chapel Hill. NC State managed to take game 1, so they're ahead in the series 1-0.
It's definitely going to be interesting to watch this draft phase just to see if anything changes from the last game. Definitely looks like Chapel Hill isn't going to be focusing on all ADCs again per usual. But North Carolina State is definitely going to be following that nice Gnar Draven ban setup like they had last game, making sure that Draven bot doesn't get his special champ. Definitely trying to avoid fighting a Gnar, as Chapel Hill was able to ban Swain away, opening up North Carolina State for another ban.
It forces them to ban away one less ADC if they want to keep their focus on the bot lane to ban out the Swain, but they do still ban away the Caitlyn.
Yeah, I don't feel like too many people really like playing against Caitlyn right now.
I,
for one, am not a fan of that range.
We do have the Rise coming in lieu of the Swain from last game out of NC State instead of him coming in the second round. And the Morgana ban coming out, her Black Shields the first game were on point. She saved her carries and herself so many times just with the timing of them. So it's a smart ban out of UNC Chapel Hill.
Indeed, and it looks like North Carolina State is going to be taking the opportunity to lock in that Xayah. It's going to be interesting to see how Chapel Hill responds. They are going to be they're going to be picking up that Rakan to try and separate that duo in the bot side.
Yeah, even though UNC had the Rakan Xayah duo last game, it didn't work out for them, especially because of the Morgana. But they still want to split up the duo from NC State because it is a very powerful tool in the right hands.
Indeed. Lucky enough, though. Oh, we're going to be having a Sivir pick come on over to the side of Chapel Hill. I think that's going to be a very good, safe ADC pick. Definitely going into Xayah, especially since she, if I'm not mistaken, she normally has real CC heavy supports. I mean, we see them hovering Thresh, so it would be very nice for them to have, as they do lock in Thresh, it's going to be very nice for them to have that spell shield on over to Sivir. Hopefully she can block out a couple hooks here and there.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to catch out that Sivir. We got a Zillion hover out of NC State. If they do lock it, it would be in the mid lane because they have the Thresh already locked. But they are going to go for the Skarner again instead, prioritizing jungle and saving their mid pick for the second phase.
Indeed, they definitely it definitely looks like Cyber over here is feeling a lot more comfortable in that Skarner. He did really well with it last game. Was able to get some nice clears going on and a couple great ganks down in the bottom side jungle. Looks like Chapel Hill's going to try and respond with, I believe it's going to be a Jax in the jungle.
That could also be flexed towards the top lane, but Jax is also a good jungle champion. I personally, myself, am a Jax jungle main, so I'm happy to see that pick come through. They're going to ban away the Corki from NC State. It was a good pick for them. They did not manage to shut it down in the first lane, in the first game. Let's see if NC State decides to ban out the top or the mid lane more. They are going to go for the Syndra ban to target mid lane. We'll see what their final ban is, whether they think the Jax is going to be flex top or jungle and where they target accordingly.
Gonna be banning out that Kled.
Yeah, the Kled banned away. He didn't manage to get many towers on his own, but he was a very effective split pusher in keeping Scion away and from preventing him from grouping with the rest of the team. And he was always the first on the roam, shoving the Scion in, forcing him to deal with the waves. UNC Chapel Hill hovering the Shyvana, not gonna lock it in.
Dravenbot
Instead,
has been a little trolly here, going through
he has hovered
5, 6 picks before he locks
he
in.
has hovered the Karma both games. Does manage, they do lock in the Karma, who I believe will go mid lane because they already have the Rakan on support, unless they decide to really mix things up and send him top or mid, but I don't think that's the case. Oh, we got the Vigar coming out from North Carolina State in the mid lane to answer the Karma. He's not a very good early game champ, struggles with wave clear, but when you let him scale up into the late game, he will absolutely delete your carries.
Is this going to be Garen in the top lane?
I wonder.
Oh,
The
we're going to
Singed
be looking at a
hover,
nice singed.
and they're going to lock it in.
This
We
is
got a
going to be
Singed
fantastic.
top lane.
He has been doing really well as of late, actually. With some of the just a whole lot of stuff happen in the more recent patch notes that he's definitely risen up. We've seen him played a lot in the LCS and normally picked, I believe, similar to this as a blind pick. Looks like they're going to be trying to counter it with an Ornn. Nope, they're going to be
Oh,
going for
they
that
go to
nice Darius.
Darius. So that is a Jax jungle.
They're definitely going for an aggressive playstyle on the side of Chapel Hill. Um, Definitely going to try and pick up kills and just dominate their way through the game, while North Carolina State is going to be focusing more on team fights. Um, trying to make use of Singe nice AoE damage, making it towards mid and late game, letting Viger get his stacks up, trying to delay the game out where like Singed, Skarner, and Thresh can just tank while Vigar and Saya just do all the damage for him.
Yeah, it's interesting because UNC Chapel Hill's state is, it kind of contradicts itself because both Darius and Karma are very good early game champs with their high base damages, whereas the Sivir and the bot lane you generally want to let scale up and get a bunch of items and wave clear really well.
And something that at least helps Sivir and them do that is the fact that with Dextimus going Vigar in the mid lane, that's not very much of a roaming champ. So it's going to be a little bit safer for Sivir and Rakan. Definitely only have to really worry about the Skarner coming in. As long as they don't shove into the enemy tower, they should be pretty good waiting for that, waiting for their power spikes there. But if they end up
Yeah.
shoving in, they leave the possibility for Singe to teleport in as well.
Yeah, Sivir's going to have to use her spell shield very carefully this game. If she gets caught in a Vigar cage, she can use it to escape and just simply walk out of it. But then she's left herself open to a threshold hook or a Skarner ult or Singed flip even. And she just has to play very carefully in team fights and dodge all of the CC that NC State is going to be throwing her way.
Something that is going to be kind of interesting is to see the Saya Thresh matchup. I've kind of wanted personally to see how well it goes, just because I know Thresh has always been like a really good support pick. But more recently, with the buffs to Zaya, or no, it's not to Zaya, um, but the diminishing value of Zaya actually having Rakan as a support, just because Rakan's stats with other ADCs have been buffed, so it's not like, Zaya and Rakan, even though there's still a pretty good duo there, having them on separate teams it's it's going to be interesting to see which like kind of pulls forward a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll
Be-
definitely have to see who comes out on top of this little lovers quarrel in the bot lane.
Indeed, because with Rakan's buffs, I believe they were to his one of them was to his dash range, so that it's a little bit bigger for other ADCs that aren't Xayah. So instead of being like, you know, doubled to reach Xayah, now there's only like I think a 200 range there. I think instead of like 350 for normal champs, now it's 500, and it's 700 to Xayah exclusively. So it's like it's not going to be that much of a difference to where you can pick up other ADCs and match them really well with Rakan. Whereas Xayah's always been a strong pick, at least more recently just as a solo pick. So it's going to be very nice and refreshing, I guess, to see her with a Thresh support, which is something I personally haven't seen her with.
Yeah, but with this Thresh, it's gonna literally be hit or miss with his hooks. Thresh can be godlike, landing key hooks onto carries and saving his teammates with his lantern. But if he's not hitting anything and he's just kind of there, he's definitely going to be overshadowed by the Rakan.
Indeed, indeed.
So it looks like we're loaded into game. NC State is on the blue side with UNC Chapel Hill on the red side. We'll see if we get another cheese invade from NC State and whether or not UNC is going to match it. It does look like NC State is stacking up in the bot lane, going for another invade through the river, but UNC is there to match it, and it doesn't look like anyone's going to do anything, and nothing's going to come of it. They are stacked 5 in a bush if someone does walk forward just a little bit too much. They'll have to be careful. Karma not quite hitting him. Double knock up onto the Thresh, and the pull from Darius. Nice. Thresh flashes out, but the Skarner is left for dead. And UNC manages to get the kill this game for first blood. And critically, it goes onto the mid laner instead of the support or jungle.
And it is going to be very interesting. I do like how much just through the draft phase and right there that we saw North Carolina at Chapel Hill actually kind of learn, I guess, from their mistakes, or kind of pick up more about North Carolina State's play style. They were able to meet them down there and actually essentially do exactly the same thing they did. And I mean, you know what they say about karma. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this game goes for the side of Chapel Hill.
Oh, you and your puns. No, but with Darius starting pull in the top lane, he's going to seriously lose out on a lot of his early pressure and is going to have to wait until he hits level 2 or 3 to really try and duel this Scion and not get the push on that the Darius generally does level 1.
Indeed, I mean, as we can even see in the top lane, Singed is very good at right now pushing in his wave. And Darius is just kind of having to try and sit back, not take too much damage, while this wave just crashes into his tower. He was able to get a little bit of that poison damage going on, make sure that Singe tanks a couple tower shots. He was getting away from him there, but he just threw out his E, said, "Bring that booty here, boy." Just crippled him with his W, trying to definitely help him win that fight from that extra tower damage going on.
Yeah, and Singed already used both pots from his refillable potion, so he has to be very careful that he doesn't take a bad trade against the Darius, or he will more than likely have to back. Darius going in with the W slow, lands the Q, pulls the Singed in. That's 3 stacks. Managed to get all 5 stacks onto the Singed. The Skarner is here. Darius flashes forward. Singed flashes away. And the bleed onto the Singed is very heavy. He's very low, out of mana. Will he be run down by the Darius? But he manages to get away. Both top laners burn their flashes. and Singed gets away with his life. Both of them backing, but Singed is going to lose a bit of this minion wave to the turret. He will be forced to TP back if he doesn't want to lose a bunch of XP. Darius actually staying, but I think he should have taken his free back right there and just picked up a free item or so. But he's going to back now, and more than likely just get to walk back to lane and have TP advantage.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to more make sure that he got that extra free walk back, just so that he didn't have to blow his teleport like Singe did. As
He's using it anyway.
Indeed.
Singe does manage to push the wave relatively close to his turret, but with the wave that arrived in lane, I don't think the teleport was necessary, and I think Darius could have saved his TP. He's gonna get some more harass onto the Singe, but not gonna go all in this time.
What was really nice about that last skirmish up in the top lane though was Cyber over here on Skarner read it very well, and he was able to come in to try and make sure that Singed had the peel he needed to get away. Definitely tried to get that stun on him, make sure that he blew that flash there just to make sure he got away, wasn't taking too much minion damage. But another thing is that could have gone terribly wrong for Skarner as well if Darius had just turned around, I think, because he already had that 5 stacks on his passive. He had that extra AD, and he was using that Q just to help get back some more health, and he was almost even in health with Skarner, and he was just able to knock both of them down real low to where both Skarner and Singed had to back after that.
Yeah, especially depending on his E cooldown during that fight. If it was going to come back up, I definitely agree that it would have been the smarter thing to do to turn onto the Skarner, and he would have been forced to burn his flash as well or be killed with the extra stacks. Darius missing his pull, but still managing to land the Q. Singed is half health to Darius's full in the top lane, and he's just being forced under now.
And he has used his last stack of his corrupting potion as well. So although he is getting back up to full mana, it's definitely going to be that last little bit of mana that he's going to have until probably the next time that he has to back.
Yeah, he burned all of those stacks just to get back to full health. Meanwhile, the Darius still has both of his refillable charges and was at full health, and he has already hit level 6 from staying in lane and not missing minions to his tower. We got Karma and the Veigar going at it a little in the mid lane, both managing to not land their stuns or roots, and both just tickle each other and walk away. But both have picked up a tier in the mid lane, so they are going to be going for that Seraph's Embrace, the extra shielding, mana, and extra AP from it.
Something that we do want to look at as well is the jungle matchup right now. Oh.
We got a small skirmish. Thresh manages to land a hook onto Rakan. Rakan does not manage the return W. Thresh going in, lanterns in the Xayah. The Sivir forced the flash heal away. The Xayah manages to pick up the kill onto the Sivir, but Jax comes in and gets the kill onto the Xayah. She burns her flash but does not survive. Thresh has the flash away as well. Jax burns his flash to get the kill. And that's a 1-for-1 of the ADCs in the bot lane.
That was definitely intense. I thought that they were just going to go for a quick trade, but Xayah and Thresh definitely decided differently. They read that situation very well, and they decided that they could win that fight if they just committed and went all in.
Yeah, that was a really good flash forward into the Flay by the Thresh, and he lanterns him forward. Meanwhile, Skarner's up in the top lane. He is level 6, does have his ult. Darius is very low on mana, doesn't manage to get the heal onto either of them. Ult comes out of Skarner, drags the Darius back. Darius is very low, going to get a little bit of a heal on the Skarner, but he's just going to end up falling. Neither top laner still has flash, and Darius isn't going to manage to get his ult. Jax is invading. He's caught out by the Veigar and the Thresh. The stun lands, the hook lands, Xayah comes and cleans up the kill onto the Jax. That was a very risky invade by the Jax. And I don't think it was well coordinated with his team.
Indeed, I think that he was a little bit more focused on trying to keep the level and CS advantage that he had. Prior to that, he did have a successful invade of the bottom lane, or sorry, bottom side jungle. He was 2 camps up on Skarner, almost a whole level up after that gank, that delayed gank in the bottom
Oh,
lane.
hook landing onto Thresh. Thresh going in. Is anything going to come of this? No, everyone's just going to back away.
Karma's definitely getting a lot of nice poke onto Vigar. However, Vigar he is taking it like a man. He's just dropping down his W, hitting his Q, trying to get those extra stacks for his ability power right there.
Farm up and stack. He's not going for kills right now. Both Skarner and Jax in the bot lane. Skarner doesn't manage to land the stun on to Jax. Jax does not get his counter-strike. That's an alt W by the Rakan. Gets both the ADC and support. Thresh is really low, but they do not manage to kill him. Skarner is stuck in the middle of all three of them. Good route by the Xayah onto the Jax. Flash backwards by the Skarner to prevent being stunned up by the Jax, and everyone gets out, but that is a Skarner flash blown, and no other summoners burned, only ults. And we got a trade in the top lane. Singed going in on the Darius. Darius is very low. He does have his Conqueror. He gets all 5 stacks, but Singed is just going to run away, and Darius is going to end up dying to his poison. Oh, well, he'll have to finish him off first. Gets the heal. The poison, will it be enough? Darius is still alive. Singed still hasn't managed to kill him, and oh, Darius gets away by the skin of his teeth. He should be dead right now. He is unbelievably lucky to be alive.
Yeah, man, he's unfortunately underestimating that.
And we got another fight going on in the bot lane. Junglers are both still here, but the Predator is popped by Skarner, but he doesn't manage to find an ult onto anyone. The hook misses, and everyone just backs away. Oh, this is a very action-packed few minutes.
Indeed. Something that Darius does have to watch out for, something that he may not have thought of, is that, dude, you don't mess with the Singed whenever he has 3 Dark Seals, man. That's just not a good matchup.
Yeah, Singed does have the full Ninja Tabby, whereas Darius is just sitting on the T1 boots. And with Singed ult, he is going to easily outrun and outkite the Darius.
Darius trying to clear up those wards. Maybe it looks like he's trying to make it so it's a little bit easier for Jax to come up the top side. However, Skarner is there to meet him while he's taking his blue buff. If he decides to go in, probably wouldn't be too far off to see a counter gank from Skarner.
Yeah, Skarner's going to give away the blue buff to the Veigar so he can sustain his mana more in lane, farm it out, continue to get the stacks. He's already up to 79 at 12 minutes in. Oh, we got a fight in the top lane. The Jax and the Darius managed to kill the Singed. The Singed is really low. Oh, the Skarner manages to get dunked by the Darius. Doesn't quite get the kill off the dunk, but he has the follow-up damage with his passive and bonus AD that UNCC Chapel Hill manages to secure a kill in the top lane. 1 kill going over to the Jax and 1 over to the Darius. And will they be able to get this first turret?
I think they will. We have Singed, a couple seconds till he's up. He's going to be starting to channel that teleport in right now, though. I thought that maybe they could have gotten it, but...
Oh, we got a fight in the bot lane. Xayah is charmed up. That is the heal and out of... Oh, excellent route out of the Xayah. Flashing forward as Sivir flashes back to finish off the Sivir. Rakan barely getting away, under 100 health. And meanwhile in the mid lane, Veigar is killing Karma.
Just at the tip of that E that he just dropped down, I believe it's his Event Horizon, right?
He managed to trade with the Karma to get her low enough that he stuns her up and just kills her with his W.
Just boom, drop that W, match that Q perfectly up with it. Just as the stun duration was going off from his E, everything just hit perfectly at the same time, and half of Karma's health bar just disappeared.
Yeah, I used to be known as a bit of a Veigar player myself, and one of my friends, we both differ on how to level Veigar's ability. My philosophy is to level the E after Q so your stun duration increases and it gives your team a better chance to kill them, whereas he is a firm believer in maxing W second. But here it looks like Deximus is following me and maxing the E second. So he's going for the stun duration over the damage out of his W. Meanwhile, Skarner ults the Sivir bot lane, doesn't manage to spell shield it, and Zaya is there to easily pick up the kill. Darius channeling... Oh no, that's the Karma channeling her teleport, cancels it, and that's a free kill onto the Sivir.
Oddly enough, the way, just to go back to the Veigar leveling, I always used to go 3 into Q, then 2 into E, and then max W, then Q. Because if I'm not mistaken, the third point into E is whenever you finally have that breathing room, to where the second they get stunned, if you pop your W, there's no way they can avoid it at all. And so it's going to be easier for you to just drop that W and do a lot of damage, especially with it being with it having that better AP scaling and base damage. So if you land that W, that's a lot more damage that you're going to see coming down from Veigar.
We got a fight in the bot and top lane. Both ADC and support are charmed up by the Rakan, but no one's going to go down, although Skarner and Jax are both there, unbeknownst to the other teams to support. Skarner is unseen in the bush, but excuse me, Jax has walked into lane. But back to the Veigar, I always max the Q because you need it to farm your stacks, and the more stacks you get, the more damage you do. And now, the more stacks you have, the lower the cooldown is on your W, so you don't necessarily have to max that to get the extra cooldown as well. If you do it, it's purely for damage. But I prefer to be able to farm out with the Q and get more damage onto the more reliable ability to land, as opposed to the W.
Gotcha. I mean, obviously, I wasn't necessarily the best player.
There's no one right way to
I mean,
play
mid lane is not my best role. It is my worst role, actually.
We got Skarner popping the Predator, going up for a gank in the top lane, manages to get stunned up on the glue, can't run away. The ult comes out from the Skarner. The Jax is here to save. The Darius pulls Singed back, stunned up by Jax. The Singed forced to flash away before he can be dunked by Darius. Darius did flash forward, but no kills going to either team.
It would have been interesting there, just, I don't know if Jack's E was up. I can't remember if I saw if he used it on the engage or not, but it definitely would have been interesting to see if he would have tried to flash and go in with that red smite to try and get that extra damage on Singed or not, to see if that would have worked, because I think that him being full health, he would have been safe to go in, get him, and just walk out of the tower.
Jax is still top lane. Meanwhile, Singed mid, or Skarner's mid. Darius goes in, pulls, and tries to slow the Singed, but Singed just managed to run away. Jax was trying to come back for a return gank, but was not there in time, and Singed will get away. No, going back to the 2v2 fight, the Darius pulled the Singed forward to him. The Skarner tried to run back to help, and the Jax jumped in and stunned up both of them.
Oh, gotcha.
So the stun was landed, and it landed onto both of them, but it wasn't able to finish off either. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, North Carolina State manages to pick up the first tower blood, and they did pick up the Cloud Drake as well.
Definitely looks like this game is going to be a little bit more even. It looks like it's only a 1.5k.
Oh, Skarner comes down onto the Rakan. He tried to W out and tries to get the charm. He does manage to charm and flash, but the slows from the NC State support and jungler were almost too much, and he just barely gets away.
But as I was saying earlier about the gold lead, man, this Darius is not having it. He does not want Singed anywhere near his minions. Every single time he sees him walk up, he just lands that EWQ combo and just keeps smashing on him as much as he can. It does look.
Then there's a hook landed onto the Karma, and the Xayah is going to pick it up. The E comes down. Sivir uses her spell to walk out free from the event horizon of Veigar. But NC State manages to get the mid lane turret and the kill onto the mid laner. And that's what I was talking about with the Thresh. Literally hit or miss with his abilities, and he's been hitting hooks left and right and really coming up big for his team.
Indeed. Also on the side of Chapel Hill, that's kind of just bad positioning overall for
Another
Fuzzy
hook.
Mangoes.
Landed. He lanterns in the Xayah. Sivir is forced to ult away. Both get out scot-free, but that was a nice pick by the Thresh onto Rakan and lantern in for the Xayah.
I think I've only seen him miss 2 hooks this whole game.
Yeah, he is definitely hitting them when he needs to be, and he's really playing this Thresh well.
You see Dextimus with this wonderful action-packed trip to the river to drop down a control ward. The bot lane on the side of North Carolina State is going to be backing with that lane starting a slow push in the bottom side. Sivir not wanting to push down too much to try and farm. She's kind of scared of that bush right there that's been warded by North Carolina State that they don't have vision of. She's going to be dropping a ward in it, feeling a little bit safer to push up by herself to farm that wave.
Yeah, they did have the ward that just expired in the entrance to their jungle, but she still just, they had no vision in the jungle itself, so she still had to be careful.
Looks like they're going to be doing a little bit of a lane swap there. Xayah and Thresh going to be pushing up on the top side, trying to get that first T1
Darius
tower on the top side.
Pulls in the Thresh as Darius pulls him under turret. Jax flashes forward, lands the stun onto the Thresh, but is forced to hop back out. He flashed forward for that. I'm assuming he didn't have his Q up, or he just didn't want to use it to try and land the stun. But that's a flash blown by both the support and the jungler. And Karma is forced to TP to the bot lane to match the Singed split push. Skarner goes in, manages to stun up the Darius. He ults the Darius. Thresh hook lands onto the Rakan. Darius is extremely low, gets stunned up. Thresh finishes off the Rakan. Meanwhile, Skarner kills the Darius, and the Sivir is forced to flash away. And they're going to be able to get the top turret for free off of this because the Karma had to go and answer Singed bot. It was a very even game up until this point, but NC State is really just starting to snowball.
Indeed. I mean, it was really even up until the point Karma got caught out and they got that first mid lane tower. It was only at about a 1k gold difference, favoring the side of North Carolina State. Now it's already up to 4,500 gold. Looks like North Carolina State is definitely favoring that coverage on the top side jungle.
Yeah.
Over on red side,
the Baron has spawned, so they're going to be looking to set up for it. You did see pings come down from UNC Chapel Hill onto the Baron, thinking that they might be on it because they don't have much vision at all in their own top jungle or at the pit.
We're going to be Sins reassuming his position bot side, trying to split push. He does have that teleport coming up in just a couple seconds, as it looks like Skarner's going to be giving that blue buff on over to Veigar. Thresh coming on down the mid lane to meet up with Xayah, who is farming all on her lonesome up until this point. We're going to be having Skarner and Veigar back, so the members of North Carolina State are going to be having to play pretty cautiously as they push up in both the mid and bot lane, as Thresh goes for some deep wards by himself, hoping that he doesn't get caught out by UNC Chapel Hill over here.
Yeah, they pinged every single spot in the top jungle that UNC Chapel Hill had the vision to go and clear it out so that they could take the Baron that much easier. And Darius is forced to match the Singed in the split push. And Singed is just so much more effective in the side lanes at this point than Darius is. Darius has really lost his... Oh, we got a fight in the mid lane. Rakan trying to go in and get a charm, but he's hooked by the Thresh as he goes in. He is bursted almost instantly. The Skarner forced to flash away, getting really low. Xayah ult stuns up with Darius. Singed tries to go in, land a hook. He's forced to flash out from under the turret. And it is a 1-for-0 trade in favor of NC State. Veigar flashes forward, trying to get a stun onto anyone from NC State, but he just doesn't quite get the event horizon around anyone. And Thresh almost getting killed on the back end of that. Oh, the Veigar W comes down and just deletes the Sivir. That's 2-for-0 in favor of NC State. And they get the mid lane turret as well. The Darius roaming up from the bot lane before that fight started, trying to preempt the Singed in the bot lane, trying to get something going, but the Rakan just got really unlucky with the hook while he tried to ult onto the team. He did get a good multi-man charm, but he was just stunned up by the Thresh and wasn't able to make it back out, and it just spiraled down for Chapel Hill after that point.
We do have the dragon spawning here in the next 10 seconds. As we can see, the side of North Carolina State starting to focus on that bottom side of the jungle. Skarner getting a little bit of vision there while sitting in the dragon pit. Looks like he's going to be trying to get that yet again a third Cloud Drake of the game.
Skarner
yo,
really
man, where's Mazda at? We need
game.
to sponsor North Carolina State here.
Yeah, I definitely think that they should go and try and get the Baron soon, especially to help them crack open that base, because Sivir is such a monster wave clear now that she has the static Shiv. And you see now, 4 members of NC State are grouped on the top side around the Baron, while Singed is continuing his split push, drawing Darius down to the bot side.
As North Carolina State continues just to deny as much vision as possible. We have Jax and Darius. Both of their trinkets are completely ward free right now.
We got an event horizon coming down onto the Jax and Rakan. Rakan just gets deleted by the Veigar ultimate. Caught out by the Thresh hook. Veigar ultimate right now at its max is doing over 1,700 damage with that second item Rabadon's. Hook lands onto the Karma. Event horizon comes down. Karma's forced to flash out. The Jax goes in. Xayah has the ult to prevent herself from being stunned. And everyone else is getting out. Hook, the Sivir, dragged into the event horizon and absolutely deleted by the Veigar and Xayah. Sivir is off the map. And I think that they can easily go for the Baron now or just continue to push the top lane if NC State wants.
I think that it would probably be the best bet to go for Baron. I mean, obviously it's going to be really nice for them to, while they have the advantage, get this this tower here.
Coming down onto the Rakan. The threshold doesn't land. The Rakan charms and manages to get out. The Darius pulls the Thresh and the Skarner. Jax comes in, stunning up them both. Will Darius manage to get a dunk off? He doesn't. Jax gets completely deleted by the Veigar, who they came back up. Triple kill on the Veigar. Veigar's just doing so much damage. He has 872 AP with the Rabadons and Seraphs, as well his passive stacks. And I think this is the game.
Yeah, I was about to say I stand mistaken on that Baron call.
They don't even need the Baron. They're just steamrolling through top lane into the base.
Sivir coming on up with that static Shiv is going to be saving them a little bit of time there, helping to wave clear just that one wave of regular minions that North Carolina State had on the top side, especially with Karma's Q coming on out, helping push them out. But they were able to get both inhibitors in the mid and top side, definitely giving them more than enough breathing room They have topside jungle warded. However, North Carolina is probably going to be coming on through with their red wards and sweeping lenses, trying to clear that up and make sure that they're not taking Baron, as they've just pinged it since they have no vision. They're going to be warding over. They see that Baron's free right now. They're probably realizing that due to the health bars on the side of North Carolina State being at just about half or below, that they probably backed. It is going to be we is that was it Shirelia's Reverie over on
Yes.
Singed?
Australia's Revelry and a Righteous Glory, along with 3 Cloud Drakes.
Man,
Good lord, NC State is just going to run down Chapel Hill.
dude, they are the speedy boys. Gonna be trying to take out this Darius
back
over
in
on
by
the
the
bottom
Singed,
side.
forced to flash away from Zaya.
Singe trying
Right to the
to
top.
force him up off that tower for Zaya just to tick it on down.
They don't even need Baron at this point. I think it was a really smart thing for them to do to continue to push the top lane while the Sivir was down. They're going to ult the Karma in. She's going to manage to speed herself out with her shield. Rakan going in, managing to land a 3-man charm onto NC State. No one goes down yet, but it looks like NC State does all health bars around except for Darius and Sivir, and the Skarner and Zaya are relatively low. Darius caught out by a hook.
Just
into the
deleted
event
from half
horizon.
health with the Vigar ult.
Vigar ultimate now doing over 2,000 damage at its peak. And I think NC State is just going to end the game right here.
Indeed,
I
they're
don't
going to
think
get that
Sivir-
third inhibitor. Winions over there took that top Nexus tower. They're going to be taking down this last one. Singe doing a
And
good
they're
job
just-
of trying to
they're
keep
just
them
gonna go for the
back.
end.
While
I don't think
Rakan's
there's
trying to
anything
poke
that
in.
Chapel Hill can do. NC State is just going to close this out, wall everyone off, and go for the end. Or they're just going to go for more kills.
A little bit of BM from there at the end, trying to end the game before Zaya died. Man, that was a fantastic game. I don't know if you actually noticed in that last team fight down by, or not the last one, I guess. That last team fight kind of lasted all the way from like 2 minutes prior. But at that bottom inhibitor tower, although Righteous Glory, the movement speed does it does stop as soon as you come into contact with a champion slowing them. I believe that Sinch also used Shirelia's Reverie along with his Tokyo Drift passive, just zooming on through him. And dude, I saw him stop and just click to move, and it was like he was just teleporting bit by bit because of how fast his movement speed was. It was beautiful.
Yeah. That was just excellent gameplay by NC State.
It really was.
I think it was really smart of them to not go for the Baron and continue to push into the base topside after they killed Sivir, because Sivir is the primary wave clear for UNC, and they just weren't able to clear out the waves, and it was just a free top and mid inhib.
Indeed. Something that we do have to give props on over to North Carolina State as well, though, is that they really did not feel like giving up much of anything. You see, on the side of towers, all of their towers are still up, although their top tower was really close to falling. They didn't give over a single dragon, even if they were Cloud Drakes. But you got to remember, that's NA's favorite Drake. That is the NA Drake. And they were able to get 3 of them again, just like last game. But they weren't even giving up any kills. I mean, you see the only 2 laners to die, Singed, which is a tank, and then Zaya, she died once just from initially, if I'm not mistaken, she was initially caught out at the beginning of the game, was she not? Or was that Skarner?
That was Skarner that was
Skarner?
caught out at the beginning of the game.
Gotcha.
She got killed on a gank bot lane by Jax.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did the flash Q onto her. Yeah. Which that was basically unavoidable there, but and then Skarner just tanking for his team. I mean, that's kind of inevitable that he's going to have a death or 2 there. But they definitely just didn't feel like giving anything on over to him.
That was just a very dominant game.
Indeed. We're gonna go back on over to a brief intermission again, set up for game 3. Let's let's hope to see that North Carolina at Chapel Hill can make a comeback. See if we can, make it to game 4 and 5, or just see if North Carolina State is just going to continue with their dominance and just do a clean 3-game sweep. We'll be back in a couple minutes to get into game 3, and we'll see you then.